He didn't believe in love anymore, not after everything that had happened. Nathan Cole, billionaire, CEO of Cole Enterprises, the man who built an empire from dust, sat alone in a dimly lit restaurant, staring at the flickering candle in front of him. He had agreed to this one final blind date only because his sister Emma wouldn't stop insisting. "Just meet her, Nate. She's different," she had said. Different. They always said that. Nathan adjusted the cufflinks on his navy suit, the same way he did before every meeting. To him, this wasn't a date. It was another formality, another wasted evening pretending to feel something he'd long buried under years of isolation and success. His phone buzzed with a message from Emma. "She's on her way. Hey, don't you dare leave." Nathan smirked bitterly. He had already decided he'd give her 15 minutes 20. She was politened, then vanished back into the comfort of his penthouse overlooking a city that adored his money but never knew his heart. Then the door opened, and she walked in. She wasn't what he expected. No glittering dress, no perfume strong enough to fill the room, no air of desperation or pretense. Just a simple woman in a pale cream coat holding a worn-out handbag, her hair slightly tousled by the evening wind. "Hey?" She scanned the restaurant nervously, then her eyes landed on him, soft, uncertain, but steady. Nathan felt something he hadn't felt in years: stillness. She walked toward him, each step careful, like she wasn't sure she belonged there. "Mr. Cole?" she asked gently, her voice trembling but warm. He nodded. "That's me, and you must be." "Lila," she said with a small, shy smile. "Emma told me you don't like surprises, so I guess I should start with the truth. I didn't know this was a date." Nathan blinked. "You didn't?" Lila shook her head, laughing softly. "Emma volunteers at the children's center where I work. She told me we were meeting a donor. I didn't realize she was setting me up until the hostess said it was a blind date." He should have been annoyed. But he wasn't. There was something disarming about her honesty, something painfully human that cut through the polished glass walls he'd built around himself. They sat down, and for the first time in years, Nathan found himself listening. Lila talked about her job at the children's center, how they were struggling to keep the doors open. She spoke about the kids like they were her own, how she'd spend her nights sewing little blankets, how she remembered every child's birthday by heart. Her eyes lit up when she spoke, and Nathan realized she had no idea who he was. "You really don't know me, do you?" he finally asked. Lila frowned. "Should I?" For a moment, Nathan almost laughed. "I'm Nathan Cole, CEO of Cole Enterprises." Her expression didn't change much. She only said, "Oh, that explains the suit." Then she added, with a playful grin, "I thought you looked too uncomfortable to be a regular person." He laughed for the first time in months. Dinner passed in quiet conversation, not forced or superficial. She asked about his life, but not his money. He asked about her past, and she shared pieces, losing her parents young, raising her little brother alone, fighting to build a life that mattered. There was something raw and unpolished about her that Nathan found deeply grounding. When the evening ended, Nathan didn't want it to. He offered her a ride, but she refused politely. "I'm fine," she said. "It's just a few blocks away." As she turned to leave, Nathan called after her. "Lila, would you have said yes if you'd known it was a date?" She hesitated, then smiled. "Maybe, but only if you promise not to talk about business." The next morning, Nathan couldn't focus on anything. The city skyline outside his window felt hollow, the conference calls meaningless. That single evening had shifted something in him, something subtle but unstoppable. Days passed, and he couldn't get her out of his mind. So he did what any rational man wouldn't. He visited the children's center. The building was small, the paint peeling, the laughter of children echoing through thin walls. Lila was there, kneeling beside a little boy with a broken toy truck, helping him fix it with tape and patience. She looked up, startled to see him. "Nathan, what are you doing here?" "I came to help," he said simply. He didn't tell her that he'd already sent a silent donation through his company that morning, enough to rebuild the entire center. He wanted to understand her world before changing it. Over the weeks that followed, Nathan kept coming back, sometimes to read stories to the kids, sometimes just to watch Lila laugh. He began to rediscover life outside his boardrooms, simple, messy, real. But the world didn't like change. When the media discovered photos of the cold billionaire CEO spending time at a children's center, they twisted it. They called it a PR stunt. Investors questioned his decisions. Board members whispered about his distractions. Nathan faced a choice. Protect his image or protect what made him feel alive again. He chose her. At the next board meeting, he announced something that left everyone speechless. "I'm stepping down," he said calmly, effective immediately. "I've spent my life building a company. Now I want to build something that means more." He walked out that day, free for the first time. Months later, on a quiet evening, Lila found him sitting on the steps of the newly rebuilt Children's Center, the Cole Foundation for Hope, named after her suggestion. "You didn't have to do all this," she whispered, sitting beside him. "I didn't," he replied, turning to her. "I wanted to." Lila smiled softly. "You really think this is what you were meant to do?" Nathan looked at the children playing under the fading sun. "I think I finally stopped chasing things that didn't matter, and that started. The night you walked in," her eyes glistened, and without thinking, she leaned in, pressing a soft kiss to his cheek. "Then I guess Emma was right," she whispered. "Sometimes the last blind date isn't an ending. It's the beginning." Nathan smiled, his heart lighter than it had been in years. For the first time in his life, he didn't feel like the lonely billionaire everyone saw. He just felt like a man finally found, finally home. Moral: sometimes life saves the most beautiful chapters for when you're ready to stop chasing and start feeling. Love doesn't always arrive with grand gestures. It often walks in quietly, wearing a simple coat, and changes everything forever.